This is one of a series of videos where I'm looking at creating animated backgrounds using After Effects' built-in plugins. In this video, we're going to look at using Fractal Noise and the Tint plugin. Let's get into it. Create a new project, and I'll want to create a composition inside that project, and we might just call it to get started. Oh, typo. Good start. Inside that composition, we're going to add a new solid layer, and it doesn't matter what color it is, as long as it's the same dimensions as our composition. And then we're going to add the fractal noise effect to that. So if we look at our effects and presets and we type in fractal, I'll start typing in fractal, we'll see that we've got a few different fractal options, and the one that we want is called fractal noise, and it's in the noise and grain section of the effects. We can also access that up here under effects and noise and grain and fractal noise. I'm going to apply that to this layer here. You can see that effect. It's one of the kind of effects in, or one of the plugins in After Effects that generates pixels for you. And this is what it looks like default, and we're going to create or adjust some of the this plugin's properties to create a nice kind of fluffy, fluid background effect, kind of like an underwater scene, something like that. So let's have a look up here in our effects controls, what properties and variables we can adjust. We've got some different fractal types that we can incorporate. I'm going to just use basic for this background, but definitely experiment with the different types of fractals that you can use as animated backgrounds. It's going to be a soft linear type. I'm going to invert it. Well, not at the moment. It's because that's going to look pretty similar. I'll leave the contrast. I'll make it a little more contrasty, about 120, and take the brightness up a little bit. I'm going to drop the complexity right down so that it becomes, I might drop that, go all the way to, it goes to 1. And I'm going to pull down the transform properties there and increase the scale. So I'm going to take that right up so that we're getting right in close to it. You can see these kind of fuzzy, blurry blobs. All right, so that's looking pretty good to start. We've got a 10-second long composition, and we're going to animate over that time, and we're going to keyframe the evolution. So here's the evolution here of that fractal noise over time. So I'm just going to twirl down my effects options here and find fractal noise, and then add a keyframe in for evolution, and add another keyframe right at the end there for evolution as well. And I'm going to start with 2 revolutions of that evolution setting. So you can see now when I RAM preview that, we can see those kind of blobs kind of moving in and out of focus and shifting over time, which is exactly what we wanted to achieve. I'm just going to drop down the contrast a bit because I think it's kind of burning out a little bit. Drop down the brightness as well. Yeah. So that's looking pretty good to me. I'm going to... All right, so it looks kind of like some out of focus kind of shapes. But we can actually get that to loop, so we can create a looping background. Now, if I make sure that I've got evolution options and cycle evolution selected, if I preview that now, you'll see that it should, when it gets to the last frame, cycle back to the first frame, so we can kind of repeat this on a loop for much longer periods if we needed to. So that's looking pretty good. Excellent. So to color our background here, I'm going to use another plugin called, or effect called Tint. And I'm going to drag and drop that onto my asset, and I'll twirl up the fractal noise. I finish with fractal noise, and we've got our tint effect that we can use here. So tint will affect grayscale, will map colors to a grayscale image. So everything that is black will be mapped to whatever I select here, and everything white will be mapped to whatever I select here. So if I click on that swatch and load up kind of a dark blue color, and click on the white swatch and get a light blue color, we can map those blues to our fractal noise, kind of like a gradient map adjustment layer in Photoshop. So there we go, there's a pretty versatile animated background built out of the plugins that ship inside of After Effects. Plenty of opportunity there for improvisation and adjustment depending on your needs.